What's happening, guys? Welcome to Let's Talk Comics, and today I am going to talk about all of the different copies of Spider-Man, Superman that I got, all the different covers, and say a little something about each cover. Now, this is the Marvel version of the Spider-Man, Superman team up. The DC version came out a while ago, and Marvel released their version. I know I'm a little bit late on getting this one out, but it was on my to-do list for real, and I just kind of got behind on doing it. So I'm going to do it now. I haven't even read it, although I've heard that it's super good. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into all the covers I got, and then I'll read it later, and then talk about that then. So right here on the top, we have got the Walt Simonson cover. We've got Thor and John Henry Irons, Steel. Now, obviously, Thor and Walt Simonson go together like peas and carrots. You know, that very much acclaimed run Walt did with Thor. And his wife, Wheezy, is one of the co-creators of John Henry Irons. And I'm sure Walt did some work on the character, you know, considering that Louise wrote the Man of Steel book and also a ton of the Steel ongoing issues. So then right here we have the next one is we have Spider-Man, Superman. This one is kind of a, just really, I don't want to call it generic because I feel like that kind of takes away from it. But just like a classic pose here, you've got Spider-Man web swinging. You've got Superman just straight up flying. An incredibly classic looking pose. Right here we have the Ryan Stegman Spider-Man, Superman. Again, kind of like the same one we just saw, but this one is a little bit more dynamic in that you have Spider-Man doing one of his classic contortion poses while he's web swinging. Then we have just the two logos right here mashed up together. And then we have this next one here. This one is very much a kind of like a classic throwback style cover where you've got the dialogue here, and then you've got different shots and everything, you know, different scenes from the book, you know, Daily Planet, Brainiac, Luthor. You've got them fighting a bunch of villains. So you have a very much a throwback style cover right here. And then we see here in the bottom corner, it says, I can't tell who that is, but it's definitely an homage. It says after Cockrum. So apparently this is a Dave Cockrum homage here. And I'm not sure who is doing the homaging. So I'll have to look into, let's see, I might be able to figure it out here on the back. Let's see what we have here. After McNevin, Nolan. Oh yeah, after Cockrum, Power Man and Iron Fist. God, I should know that considering I've just sat back and read a ton of Power Man and Iron Fist. So that's what they're homaging right here. Disappointed I didn't know that. And then we have a Greg Capullo, kind of a more classic pose. Then we have another, this is John Kent, Superman. And then we have Miles Morales, Superman, right here. So you basically kind of have basically the next generation of characters, so to speak. Then we have Gary Frank doing Superman and Spider-Man. And then we have Mysterio in the background. Gary Frank, incredibly familiar with Superman. He's drawn a ton of Superman. He worked on the Secret Origins book that was written by Jeff Johns. And he wrote, and also Gary Frank drew some of the Superman issues where he encountered the futuristic Legion of Superheroes. That was written by Jeff Johns as well, so he's a frequent collaborator. And also, speaking of those two, the Doomsday Clock. So Gary Gary Frank and Jeff Jones, frequent collaborators. Then we have here, this is a Frank Miller. Frank Miller, Spider-Man. I don't know if how much familiarity he has with that. I can't really think of any Frank Miller Spider-Man contributions off the top of my head. I mean, I'm sure he did a couple issues here or there, but nothing to the effect of, like his Batman work. Nothing impactful like that. And then we have got another Miles Morales, and this is classic Spider-Man right here. Who is this name at the bottom right here? I don't recognize that one. But you've got kind of like Spider-Man hanging here, Miles Morales upside down, Superman kind of checking him out. Then this is a Humberto Ramos cover. I like this one here. You have got, looks like MJ and Gwen here, or I'm sorry, not MJ, Lana and Gwen here at the table together. And then you've got Spider-Man and Superman using his heat vision. They're here in the background. The waiter's looking off at them. So you can kind of just tell they're having like a girls' date. And then the guys are here in the background just off on some sort of adventure. Eric Larson cover, Cyborg Superman, and what is erroneously referred to as Cyborg Spider-Man. And the reason I hate that they refer to this as Cyborg Spider-Man is the gist behind this cover, or this costume, is this was in the Adjectiveless Spider-Man book. Spider-Man had been in a really incredibly brutal battle. His costume was ripped all to hell, and his arm was broken. So it was put into this metallic type cast here to make it heal faster. And they gave him, as you can see, the stitching on the mask right here. They kind of sewed the mask up and replaced that with like a little eye patch type deal. So he is not a cyborg. He's not a cyborg, even though they call him Cyborg Spider-Man. That's just like a pet peeve of mine. Then you have Silk and Supergirl right here. Silk is a character I don't know very much about. I know that she is one of those characters that is in the Spider-Man legacy, in the family, but I don't know very much about her. And then you have a Russell Dowderman. I believe that's how his last name is pronounced. You have his Jane Foster Thor, Spider-Man, Wonder Woman, Superman right here. So a pretty cool cover. You've got everybody posing up a storm. I believe that's Russell Dowderman. Isn't that what that says? RD right there. I can't think of who else that would be. Now this one is a very cool cover right here. This has Spider-Man Noir and Golden Age Superman. From the Golden Age Superman is from a time when his powers were greatly different than what they are right now. And then Spider-Man Noir, who's kind of really taken off over the last few years. And he's supposed to be getting his own show on Amazon. Actually, he's not supposed to. He is getting his own show on Amazon. And who is this right here? Who is the team on this? So you've got, let's see here. Who do we have? Not Adam Hughes, not Infinity Gauntlet. Maybe it's over here. Must be overlooking it somewhere. What do we have? Stegman, no. Simonson, no. Ramos. Oh, that was Sarah Pacelli. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly who this is, but I really like it. It's super cool. Now, this one here, obviously, everyone knows who this is. This is Mark Bagley. He is I think he is the definitive 90s Spider-Man artist. And then you have Cardiac Superman. And then Conduit is at the top. He was a villain that was supposed to be a real big deal for Superman, but he just kind of ended up falling to the side and ended up becoming a whole bunch of nothing. Now we have, this is a Infinity Gauntlet homage cover right here. You kind of see all of the characters here are spinning out of the web. Each little slice of the web features a character that has some sort of history to Superman and Spider-Man. And this was, I did see this one here in the cover. And Civil War, Greg Capullo, Matthew Wilson, E.M. Geist and Sanford Green, homaging Ron Lim's classic Infinity Gauntlet cover. Now this is the Carrie Andrews cover right here. This is really cool. You've got a wide variety of all the characters here in the background. Carrie Andrews is someone who's kind of really taken off over the last year or so. His artwork really puts me in the mindset of 90s Image. It has that sort of, very much a Todd McFarlane type vibe, rubbery faces, kind of cartoony and loose. Even the way he signs his name right here, Carrie Andrews, is kind of like the McFarlane on the scroll. Then it's Scotty Young right here. Of course, Scotty Young going to draw babies. That's what he does. Peach Momoko. I'm not an overall big fan of Peach, but I do like this cover of Ghost Spider and Supergirl. Then we have a Adam Hughes with Power Girl and Black Cat. This is really cool. She's saying, "Oh, that loot." So you can imagine that she's captured, and the cop goes, "Where's all the loot at?" And then Power Girl shakes her, and all the money falls out. And then Felicia's response is, "Oh, that loot." So now we have a Civil War style cover. This was one of the ones that was homaged by Steve McNiven, I believe it is. Yeah, this is Giuseppe Camuso. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. But this is after the McNiven Civil War homage cover. And then you've got all the family and the characters right here in the background. And then you have got here, which is probably like the base cover. Just more Spider-Man web swinging, more Superman flying. This is probably the A cover, I guess you would say. But these are all the covers I got. And I think if I had to say one was my favorite, oh man, I like that Adam Hughes. I really, really like this Peach right here, even though Superman or Spider-Man's not on it. This is a cool one here, the Bagley, but I'm not that big on the foil. Although I am a big Larson fan, that's not it. I do like the Humberto Ramos cover here. I don't know. I mean, I know it sounds kind of weird that to pick one of my favorite cover out of all of these doesn't even have Superman and or Spider-Man on it. But I think it's the Peach Momoko. I really think that's my favorite cover out of all these. So it's a very strong contenders. I think the Superman Spider-Man one had better covers overall, if I had to say. I think that the selection of covers they offered is a little bit better than what they had right here. But if I had to choose one, I'm going to go Peach. I think the Peach one is my favorite out of all of them. So that is a look at all of the Spider-Man, Superman covers I have. Finally, I got a chance to crack this thing open and read it, so I can get around to doing that. So till next time, talk to you guys later. Have a good day. Bye-bye.